happiness is a trap. It can't last forever. Let's say you meet the love of your life. Well, it's still gonna end. It's inevitable, whether by the slow pull of a disease or the shock of loose footing on a hiking trail, whether it be the corrosion of two personalities that reshape each other until they're incompatible, or maybe the old stranger in a bar who says the things that need to be said to that person that night. The point is, happiness always ends. Best case scenario, think about this. Best case is that you die at the same time. Yikes.
Say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? And that is a really difficult thing to tell you. Can you tell the difference between those two things?
Right.
You know? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100 hour weeks every week.
Gosh.
And
That's
then
a lot of work.
all those things improve the odds of success.
Okay.
I mean, if other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that in 1 year you will achieve what they achieve. You will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion. And I think that's the high order bit. The second thing is you've got to be a really good talent scout, because no matter how smart you are, you need a team of great people, and you've got to figure out how to size people up fairly quickly, make decisions without knowing people too well, and hire them, and see how you do, and refine your intuition, and be able to help build an organization that can eventually just build itself.
The meditation for me is more like being present. I'm not trying to think anything. I'm not praying about anything. I'm just still observing. So if my mind is racing, and it might be nerves, or it might be there's a bill due, or it might be this is happening in the family, I'm noticing it, and I'm trying to
let it go.
Let it go, but also not fight it. Bring my attention back to like my breathing, something that's currently happening. The sound of that fan. I just listen and try to like focus on that. And what you'll notice is like my mind will start going to something else. Like, oh, my mom said something on the phone, boom, boom, boom. And I'll start thinking about that. And I might go on a 30-second trip on that thought. And then I catch it like, oh, look what just happened. It's fine. Let me bring my attention back to that fan. Something that's like present moment. And like, I want to become a person that does that every day. Not just when like I feel anxiety or I feel stress. Because I'm like, yo, I see what it does for me in those moments when like things are like stressful or like I'm feeling anxious. It settles me, it brings me like back to the current moment. I can't imagine what it would do for me
if you did it every day
on a Tuesday in the crib. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like a slave to my thoughts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to, and I feel like that's how I've been living my life.
Yeah.
Being like a slave to like my thoughts. And 98% of my thoughts ain't even my thoughts. It's something I seen on Twitter, heard on TV, something my mom told me when I was younger, something somebody else said me. So these thoughts are like fears and worries or like just ideas from other people. And it's like, that stuff is controlling me.
The dumb shit that I've done or the bad mistakes that I've made, they've taught me. You learn. Like, that's why failure is so important. Like failing and fucking up and making mistakes, It's very important. That's how you learn. That's how the bad feeling that you get from something that you shouldn't have done or wish you didn't do or wish you did better. Like especially failing at something where you half-assed it and you just feel like a fucking loser. Like that just teaches you. It teaches you to get your shit together. Yeah, it's dangerous to dwell on past mistakes because people sort of define themselves by the worst moments that they've ever had. And if that's the case, like some people are stuck in high school. You know, they're stuck in failures that they had like when they were first getting jobs, and they always think that they're a loser, and they don't like the feeling of failure, so they keep low expectations so that they never have to feel that. You got to get through it. You got to get through bad feelings. You got to get through failure. It's very important, and you get through it by just picking yourself back up and moving forward and going. But it's hard for a lot of people because that sting, they never get over it, the feeling of failure. And they don't have a good support system, like good friends. Like having a good community of friends is very, very important because you could feel like down, like if a girl broke up with you and you feel like you're the worst, you're a fucking loser, like you're a piece of shit. But then you go out with your friends and you have a few laughs, and next thing you know, you're laughing and you're like, I'm all right. We'll be all right. And then maybe you meet a new lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she like picks you up and you're like, oh, we're going to be okay. And then you learn from the last mistakes.
Yeah.
That's life.